bitaw, wata lang ninyo, gamay ug di maabot. Sige na sila, ug di maabot sa 2-3 days. By next week na par. Muna akong gisiguro. Unta to, ideally, it should have been given during Christmas time. Uy, akong ginagukod. Ang problema, proseso, dugay pod. But anyway, antos lang mo. Buhay kuan niya, tagoy-tagoy lang, kanta-kanta, pero na ay maabot. Ha? Ampo lang mas ginoong niya. Kuan lang. Antos sa lagamay. Total, maabot man yun na. Dadating talaga sa panahon na. Hindi lahat ng dili lahat sa panahon na to sa kalibutan naagyo na yung mga so sakit man sa akong buot magtanaw ninyo gisakitan gyud ko tinuod ginaagi ko lang bugal-bugal para mga tawa lang mo kay di pa maabot ang pagkaon magsige tag istorya magsige mo katawa okay lang.
The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Typhoon Odette has claimed the lives of more than 300 people and caused damage worth at least 6.4 billion pesos. According to the NDRRMC's latest situational report, 326 people are confirmed to have died in the aftermath of Typhoon Odette. Meanwhile, 58 individuals are still missing, while 661 others are injured. Almost 350,000 houses were destroyed or partially damaged, while the estimated cost of damage to infrastructure and agriculture rings up to a little over 6 billion pesos. A total of 343 cities and municipalities in Mimaropa, Region 6, Region 8, and Caraga remain under state of calamity. Some youth groups opened a donation drive for areas heavily affected by Typhoon Odette. More in this report from JC Cosico.
Despite their busy work schedule, Jello and his high school friends opened a donation drive for victims of Typhoon Odette. Since they all love traveling, they can't help but be sad after the destruction caused by Typhoon Odette in Siargao and other tourist destinations.
Kasi 'di ba, pag nagta-travel ka, it's the locals who welcome you sa sa provinces nila, and parang ito yung naisip namin na ito yung give back na gusto namin gawin sa mga nasalanta ng bagyo.
It's so heartbreaking to see that they lost their livelihoods, they lost their houses, and magpapasko. So, in the season of giving, parang itinaon na rin namin doon na mag-all out.
The group has raised almost 50,000 pesos and they are still accepting cash and in-kind donations to reach more areas. Meanwhile, youth volunteers from Malita, Davao Occidental thought of selling macaroons as their way of helping.
Dahil po dito sa typhoon nainganyo po ako na tumulong, hindi lang through prayers.
Each container of macaroons costs 85 pesos, which will go straight to their donation drive for typhoon victims.
Our small action can actually make a big difference, lalo na if it's a collective effort.
These church leaders from Taguig City, meanwhile, are using their talent to help through online caroling sessions.
Nakita namin ngayong Christmas, maganda magamit din para maka-reach out sa mga kababayan po natin na nasalanta po ng Typhoon Odette.
Yun yung fastest way para sa amin to send our tulong din sa kanila, especially ngayon magi-Christmas.
They have collected 11,000 pesos so far. The Alagang Kapatid Foundation, for its part, sent hundreds of food packs and bottled water to Siargao. The Metro Pacific Investments Foundation will also send relief items as well as water filters and solar lamps to the town of Del Carmen. For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Today is Christmas Eve, as well as the last day of Simbang Gabi. So it's no surprise that people went to Quiapo Church in large numbers. To give us the latest on this, we have Justine Punsalang reporting from Quiapo Church in Manila.
Devotees flocked to Quiapo Church earlier this morning for the last two Simbang Gabi masses. However, the number of devotees who came here were too many that it exceeded the capacity of both inside and outside the Quiapo Church. Following Alert Level 2 guidelines laid out by the IATF, only 70% of the church's capacity is allowed inside, or 750 fully vaccinated devotees. While outside the church, 470 are allowed to attend the Mass in Plaza Miranda, 210 in Plaza San Juan, and an additional 100 at the small space beside Quezon Boulevard, which is usually the parking space for motorcycles. But so many devotees came that there is also a line along Villalobo Street where the market is, as well as the walkway on the left side of Quiapo Church leading to Plaza San Juan. Despite this, the police and Hijos del Nazareno exercised efforts to make sure that physical distancing is being implemented. In his sermon, Quiapo Church Parish Priest Monsignor Hernando Coronel congratulated those who were able to finish all 9 novena masses. At the same time, he asked those who attended the mass to pray for the victims of Typhoon Odette in Visayas and Mindanao. A second collection was also made for the disaster relief funds of the church to be donated to Typhoon Odette victims. Some devotees were also able to finish all 9 novena masses since the 16th, while others were only able to attend 2, the first and the last. However, many devotees share the same prayer for a better New Year and good health for their families. They also expressed excitement for tonight's Noche Buena feast, no matter how big or small it may be. Meanwhile, many were still squeezing in some last-minute Christmas shopping at Divisoria. Vendors claim that this year's crowd is lesser than the one from last year. Nevertheless, the vendors were kept busy by late-night customers looking for toys and clothes, even ang pao. And just in time for tonight's Noche Buena, there are also people lining up outside the famous Excelente Ham in Quiapo, Manila as early as 4 a.m. despite the store opening at 8 a.m. Besides Christmas Eve, today also coincides with Quiapo Day, which means there are also hourly masses throughout the day, in addition to the 2 Christmas Eve masses at 7 and 9 p.m. tonight. This is Justine Punsalang reporting for News 5.
Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. President Duterte apologizes to the victims of Typhoon Odette for the delays in the arrival of government aid. Cebu Governor Gwen Garcia releases an order allowing only those with vehicles to line up at gas stations. And Catholics attended the last day of Simbang Gabi or Misa de Gallo. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us later at 10:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.